Good morning, I'm Carmel Connolly. I'm a lead consultant at Esri UK, and I'm here today to talk to you about the ArcGIS system, how it's being used across Scotland, and related technology trends that I'm seeing. This is the ArcGIS system. It's a complete connected system that delivers geographic information through data and services, insight through mapping, analysis and sharing, and access through software and apps across desktop, web and mobile. It's a system that we at Esri are constantly developing to align with digital innovations and growing use across industries. Now, day to day in my role at Esri UK, I work directly with customers, helping them build solutions to meet business needs using the ArcGIS system. And it's this experience that I want to use today to illustrate how it's being applied across Scotland. What I'm really seeing is a drive forward for digital transformation. You're embracing modern technology and trends, transforming how your business operates today and into the future. I'm seeing a move from 2D to 3D, adding context and engaging with people. Workflows are migrating from paper to digital form, and processes that were taking months are now simply taking minutes. I want to dig into a little bit more around what's supporting these trends. Organisations are facing challenges like budget cuts, lack of time, and smaller teams. But despite this, you're still able to deliver capabilities by using configuration with the ArcGIS system. By focusing on configuration and not building from scratch, it means you can deliver functionality faster, evolve as business needs change, and the total cost of ownership is reduced. Take SSE Renewables Operations. Their entire GIS is held within ArcGIS Online, a single source of truth supporting them as they deliver renewable energy across the UK and Ireland. They're solely using out-of-the-box applications, showing how powerful configuration can really be. They've built a 3D digital representation of their assets, which provides employees with a tool where they can familiarise themselves with these assets and the surrounding landscape ahead of site visits. Surveys are streamlined and easier to perform using ArcGIS mobile applications. Field maps in Survey 123 are linked to meet survey and inspection requirements, but they're also combining the power of map-focused and form-focused applications. The results of these surveys are then automatically fed into dashboards, providing insight through data visualization directly to the people who need it. And we're no longer tied to a particular device or location to view, edit, and analyse this data. ArcGIS is a ready-made information system, providing access whenever and wherever you need it. Let's take mobile, for example. It used to be a peripheral device in our toolkit, but now it's a core way of accessing GIS. Take North Ayrshire. They're really taking advantage of the device-agnostic nature of GIS as they transform or transition from paper to digital workflows. Survey 123 are helping teams record crimes like fly tipping while they're out in the field. Results are fed into dashboards where teams back at base can view them. And work orders are triggered when appropriate and delivered to teams through Workforce when they're out and about. Previously, when work orders were paper-based, the teams had to return to the depot to retrieve their next job. But now that they can retrieve them on the go, it's reducing time and increasing efficiency. And of course, we can't forget how important content is to a system that is this accessible. The Living Atlas is a platform where you can find curated and authoritative data from Esri and other organisations across the world. Global data sets like base maps, imagery and demographics are there at your fingertips. Closer to home, you'll find Scottish data sets that have been added from organisations like Crown Estate Scotland, Scottish Government and Nature Scot. Now, what are your organisation's data sharing ambitions? Because you too could reach a wider audience using a secure, scalable platform by contributing your data sets to the Living Atlas. If this is something that you're interested in, we're here to support you throughout the process, and you can find out more on our Ask the Expert stand in the lobby. Another method that we have for sharing our content is the RTS Hub. It's an easy-to-configure platform that gives you the tools to build and deliver a variety of initiatives, including sharing out data, maps and apps. The Met Office use this to enhance their data sharing offering of meteorological services. The climate services that they're sharing through RTS Hub are pre-configured for easier visualization and analysis. Instantly combine these with your data to answer climate-related questions that your organisation has. Now, RTS Hub and the Living Atlas are options for you to share data publicly. But what if you want to share data privately? Well, RTS Online provides the mechanism to do so through groups. Create a group in your RTS Online account, share targeted data to that group, and invite users from external RTS Online accounts to it. And the content is there, secured through a login. Scottish Water receive and share content with local authorities like Dundee and Aberdeen City Councils using these RTS Online groups. They're enabling dynamic collaboration in order to support planning activities. Stakeholders are enabled to self-serve, and the business can be assured that this content is secure and current. And I'm also seeing more use of services that you can access and just plug in and go, like the Esri UK and Maps Plus service, and from suppliers like Ordnance Survey and their Maps API. The provision of these data as a service APIs means that overheads like time downloading, interpolating, maintaining are reduced and even removed. And the systems that these services are being plugged into are increasingly being delivered through software as a service. Accessing data in this, or accessing GIS in this manner, means that deployment and administration tasks are reduced, allowing you to focus on the doing and the using. It also provides you an opportunity to enhance your existing GIS by able to kind of plug in and evolve and meet urgent or evolving business needs by using software as a service. Take RTS Velocity. Process, analyse and visualise real-time data feeds in a matter of seconds, like we're going to see Claire doing next. And it's the RTS system that lays the foundation for configuration, enhanced access, increased availability of content and GIS as a service. And it's got the building blocks that's allowing you to build a GIS that meets your organisation's purpose and also digital transformation ambitions. We are co-evolving. How you're applying ArcGIS across Scotland is inspiring us to develop and deliver a system that's innovative, complete and connected. I, for one, am really excited to see what's next. And speaking of next, over to Claire to see some of what I've talked about in action. Thank you.
Thanks, Carmel. I'd like to start today by reflecting on the last time that we were all together back in 2019, where my colleague and friend Richard showed us how he built this 3D model of Edinburgh using ArcGIS Pro. And it was some really impressive stuff, we had some great terrain, buildings extruded from master map and then symbolised in 3D using their height attribute, and we even had tree data downloaded from Edinburgh City Council's Open Data Portal. And at the time, Richard built this entirely within ArcGIS Pro, and we used data that we sourced, managed, and either hosted ourselves or stored locally on the machine. So today I will recreate this 3D model of Edinburgh, but before we do, I think we should get some inspiration from Richard himself as to how we can take this forward.
So I hope you can appreciate, this is just the beginning of this, really. We could go to town, we could have photorealistic buildings if we had enough time and inclination, but you've got to ask yourself what's appropriate for what I want to do. And for a lot of things, this is perfect. We could help the city move better by importing live traffic or roadworks or incident reports. We could even use Transport for Edinburgh's API to have trams and buses actually driving through the city, which would make me very happy.
Okay, so inspired by Richard's vision, I'm going to build a 3D model of Edinburgh using only software as a service, so just ArcGIS Online. And I'll add photorealistic buildings and the real-time capabilities. So to use Richard's words, we're really going to town in this session. But why should we bother when we know that this is already possible in ArcGIS Pro? Well, today I'd like to show you just how powerful ArcGIS Online is. It gives us quick and easy access to create and host our own data, and it gives us access to additional content like data from the Living Atlas. It's accessible and its capabilities are growing all the time. Not only that, but we can easily share data within our organisation, with other organisations through distributed collaboration, and we can even choose to share it publicly. Okay, let's get stuck into ArcGIS Online and see how we could go about creating this for ourselves. Starting with a blank scene, I'll first navigate to Edinburgh. And I'll change the base map to imagery to get a similar style and feel as before. Adding data from the Living Atlas means that I can take advantage of powerful GIS content like 3D buildings and trees from OpenStreetMap. And I don't have to source or manage my own data. I can just simply browse, grab this content and start creating. So we can't see much from this extent, so let's take a look at the meadows and get a better visual of the 3D buildings and trees in this area. And before we move on, what does Edinburgh Castle look like? So it's worth mentioning that these are national data sets, so not just covering Edinburgh. We can take a quick trip to Perth and take a look at the area around this hall. And what we'll find is that our 3D buildings and trees dataset is all there, giving us this instant 3D model wherever we go. Thanks to the development of both ArcGIS Online and data contributions to the Living Atlas, I've been able to recreate this 3D model in just a few clicks, not just for Edinburgh, but for the whole of the UK, using just 2 of these datasets. And this wouldn't have been possible back in 2019, so I think that this is a really great example of our continuous research, investment and development of ArcGIS. We also have the option of using premium content, like this photorealistic mesh of Edinburgh from our partners Blue Sky. And this mesh looks really visually appealing, gives the user an ultra-realistic experience, which might be really good for some cases, but we could strip it back in favour of something more simplistic. So with a few symbology adjustments and a different base map, I can completely change the look and feel of this experience to suit our needs. I've gone for this dark operational theme, and using the daylight and weather widgets, I can further enhance the visual elements of the scene. So it's usually raining when I'm commuting to Edinburgh in the morning, so let's reflect that in our scene. Okay, so I've quickly recreated a 3D experience for any location in the UK, all in ArcGIS Online. So now we're ready to think about how we want to use it, what kind of story that we have to tell, or what information that we want to share. Today, I'll step through some common operational challenges in the transport sector, first by determining demand for buses at park and ride locations around Edinburgh. And by embedding this operational analysis, we can transform our 3D model into a living digital twin. And we'll need two things to achieve this: imagery for park and ride locations, and a machine learning model that can identify cars so that we can derive demand for these services. Recently, we introduced a new software as a service capability, ArcGIS Image for ArcGIS Online. So this means that we can now host, store and analyse imagery and raster data in ArcGIS Online. And uploading data is as easy as using the step-by-step workflow, selecting the type of imagery that I want and in what format. Today I'm using high-resolution imagery from our partners Blue Sky for all the park and ride locations around Edinburgh. And once these are uploaded, I can then share them internally within the organisation, giving other users instant access to view and analyse this data. I'm interested in the number of cars in these car parks, so I'm using the deep learning analysis tool together with a pre-trained deep learning model from the Living Atlas. And you might notice that this particular model says that it was trained on US data, but we find that it works equally well for UK data. And using this, I don't need to be clued up on machine learning. I can just select the package that I want and get going right away. The result is a feature layer with detected cars outlined in red. So what we're seeing here is out-of-the-box, pre-trained models doing complex machine learning analysis on high-resolution imagery, all within ArcGIS Online. And admittedly, it is a little bit quiet at Hermiston Gate Car Park on this particular day, but what if I wanted to scale or automate this process over time, or maybe more locations? How can I do that using software as a service? Well, the answer is ArcGIS Notebooks. These are interactive Python environments where we can write and schedule code to get answers quickly and in a repeatable manner. And I can still use the pre-trained deep learning model, but instead of against one image, I could use a set of images. And I can also use it together with more advanced analytics to make predictions on the future demand for these services. Using time series forecasting, I've predicted how these services might be used across the year in this graph at the bottom, where we can see collected data in blue with predictions towards the latter half of the year in orange. And to visualise this, I'm using a time-enabled feature layer so we can see how the demand for services changes over time. This is giving us an instant visualisation of the data that we've just been creating in the notebook, all coming together to support our operational needs. And we can use this predictively or in real time. So adding real-time buses to Edinburgh, now symbolised in white, this can help us to further enhance this workflow. So now that we have ourselves a bus schedule, another problem facing the transport sector is bus bunching. So let's take a closer look at these real-time buses and consider how we can solve the age-old problem of two buses arriving at once. It's ArcGIS Velocity that makes real-time possible in ArcGIS Online. It connects to real-time Internet of Things devices like sensors by creating feeds that filter incoming data. And then we can use real-time analytics to perform data management or analysis to that data all in real time. And this is what I'd expect a real-time analysis workflow to look like. We are ingesting real-time data on the left and performing analysis until we're ready to create an output on the far right. We're interested in finding out where two buses on the same route are too close together. So I'm using the Calculate Distance tool as part of this workflow, and I'm exporting the output to a feature layer so that I can use it to enhance our 3D model with operational insights. So let's do just that. Returning to the photorealistic mesh, we now have real-time buses moving around the city, and we've transformed this 3D model into a living digital twin. Buses are now represented in real time, and thanks to the real-time analysis in Velocity, they are aware of their proximity to each other. Labels are showing the ID number of each bus, and those in red are showing buses that are bunched together, so those travelling too close together on the same route, like these buses here. And this data is being collected and analysed in real time, but it's also being stored into a historical archive. And this is important because we can use this data to analyse past trends or to find areas where buses are typically bunched together to help us plan for demand on these public services. I know this has been a really quick overview of these real-time capabilities, so if you would like to see ArcGIS Velocity in more detail, there is a technical demonstration later today. Okay, let's leave the buses behind and instead think a little outside of the box. By using a little JavaScript to track a plane as it makes its way over the city. And whilst I might be in danger of showing off just a little bit now, we are able to do this all within our browsers. I'm hosting data, I'm ingesting and analysing real-time bus and plane locations, and I'm using it together with ready-to-use content to create this immersive user experience. And speaking of immersive experiences, we've converted our photorealistic mesh of Edinburgh into a 360 VR experience. So if you'd like to see this for yourself in virtual reality, there will be a headset available in the lobby later this morning. So we've now taken to the roads with buses, the skies with this plane. What's next? The seas. And this is because what these two examples don't show us is the volume of data that we can collect and store in ArcGIS Online. And for this, we'll use boats. This instant app created from a time slider template is showing us historically collected boat tracks in a reconstruction of their movements across a 24-hour period. And if you're feeling a little bit disorientated, it's because we've rotated the map to look east instead of north, so we can get the whole effect for the whole of Scotland. As we progress through this day, we can see the extent of the data that we can collect in ArcGIS Online that's now available for us to use in our maps, apps, and now even digital twins. And this is just the boats. So we've just been on quite a journey. So to end, let's take stock of what we've just done. We recreated a 3D model of Edinburgh using only ArcGIS Online and data from the Living Atlas. And then we transformed this 3D model into a living digital twin, using imagery hosted on ArcGIS Image for ArcGIS Online, together with ArcGIS Notebooks to determine the demand for public services. Incorporating real-time feeds using ArcGIS Velocity, we brought the city to life and addressed common operational challenges by using real-time analysis to determine where two buses are too close together. And we did this using only software as a service, completely out of the box, except for a sneaky little bit of JavaScript on the plane. But this is really powerful technology that anyone with ArcGIS Online now has at their fingertips, and the possibilities are endless. I can't wait to see what operational insights that you create and share with ArcGIS Online,